So today we're talking about Skyscraper, which is pretty darn stupid. But I kinda like it. Hello, my name is Adstosh and I love movies. So if you love movies too, then this is probably a channel for you, so why not consider subscribing for more movie related content just like this video. Just a warning, I will be spoiling this movie throughout this review, so if you don't want to hear those, then either watch the film if you're interested in it, or proceed if you don't really care. Now, Skyscraper is the latest action blockbuster from this man, Dwayne Johnson, and believe it or not, he's playing the hero in this one. Something a bit different for him. All joking aside though, I do really like Dwayne Johnson as a hero in a movie. Regardless of whether that movie is good or not, he consistently delivers a good performance, and I respect him quite a lot for that. Now, let's get into the plot of this movie. Skyscraper is about a man named Will Sawyer, who's played by Dwayne Johnson, who used to be an FBI agent and is a US war veteran. Now he's a security assessor who checks global skyscraper security. When he's on a business trip to China to take a look at the Pearl, the tallest building in the world's security, it was set on fire by terrorists and he's the suspect. He now must find the attackers responsible and also rescue his family who are trapped inside the burning tower. Now let's talk about the good about this movie. As I touched upon earlier, Dwayne Johnson always puts in a good performance, and in Skyscraper it was no different. His performance wasn't one of the greatest he's ever done, but it was still really professional. I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. No matter what film he is in, I'm always impressed by his performances, because in some films, he seems like he's one of the only actors who cares about the film. This is unfortunately a vibe I got from this film. Another good thing about the film was the design of the skyscraper, or the Pearl. I found it was very interesting to look at, and to see up in flames was kinda satisfying to me. And no, I'm not an arsonist when I say that. It did look extremely fake at times in the film, but a building with hundreds of floors and a massive garden in the centre will never not be cool to me. However, thousands of people were expected to live in the Pearl in this film, and we only seem to see 3 elevators. Doesn't seem too efficient to me. Nonetheless, I like the Pearl a lot. Now for the mixed points of this movie, and a big one for me was a lot of the performances. I feel like Dwayne Johnson and Neve Campbell were the only people to put in good performances. Everyone else just felt either fine or below par. All these mediocre performances dragged down the pair that I just mentioned. My overall score of this movie could have been a rating higher if the performances or actors in this movie were better. I also have a thing with child actors where I think they're either pretty great or god-awful, and for this film, they were unfortunately edging towards the latter. I know it's harsh because they were doing their best based on what was given to them, but I really did not enjoy scenes that revolved around the children. Another issue I had was the action. While there was a lot of it, and most of it was well shot and choreographed, I feel the film could have benefited from being more violent or perhaps being a 15 or an R-rated movie. A lot of the time there was little to no blood, and the camera cut away when most people were killed, so you never actually saw anything. I do understand that this film having a 12 or PG-13 rating makes it more accessible for children, and it will have a wider audience, therefore a larger overall gross, but for me, I probably would have enjoyed this film a bit more if it was an age rating higher. Now let's talk about the bad parts of this movie, and there are a couple small problems that I noticed throughout. One being the fact that Will's son Henry was said to have asthma at the start of the movie, and we see him using his inhaler. Now that's all well and good, however later on in the movie, Henry's seen in a burning building for around 40 to 50 minutes, completely surrounded by smoke, and he's fine. Surely if they mentioned this and made a big deal out of it, then maybe they should have noticed this. It was very obvious to me when I was watching this film. Another problem with the film is the big jump that you can see Dwayne Johnson doing. In the film, Dwayne Johnson's character has one leg, and a jump like that is surely not possible with one leg, or maybe even 2. Also, think of the speed he would have to be running at to generate the power to jump that far. It just doesn't seem likely at all that this jump is possible. The picture you see on screen very vaguely shows outcomes of possible jumps. And the last bad thing about this movie was the part where Dwayne Johnson was climbing across the side of the building with duct tape on his hands. I'd imagine that a man as big and muscular as The Rock would weigh quite a lot, and I'm not believing that pieces of duct tape prevented him from falling to his death. This was easily the most stupid part in this movie. I almost burst out laughing while this scene was happening. That's not good when a film is meant to be taken seriously. Overall though, I did find this to be a very enjoyable film. The action got going around 30 minutes into the film and never seemed to stop or slow down from there. There were so many interesting shots and scenes that made this film a very fun one to watch, and a very fun one to review. While it's far from perfect, I still had a really good time watching and reviewing this movie. I would recommend this movie to you if you like action films like Die Hard. You'll probably enjoy this film quite a lot if you like Die Hard. And I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.